Hey guys, Tony here, and today I want to show you how I hunt for S-class freighters. So first, you would have to warp at least 5 times in order to encounter a freighter under siege. And secondly, you have to have played at least 3 hours of game time in order for the encounter to happen. Um, but if you follow the main quest line, by the time you get a warp drive, you probably, most likely than not, already have put in that amount of time. So when you encounter when you're close to your fifth warp, you want to be saving in a space station like this one right here, because space stations have very few assets. Reload times are gonna be quicker. We're gonna be reloading the game a lot, okay? So don't save in your planet, because otherwise you'll have to render all the flora and fauna, and that's just gonna consume a lot of time. You can also save in your freighter, which is also very low assets. But if you have a no, it doesn't render your base until you walk through the door. So you could definitely use your freighter even if you have a big base inside your freighter. Doesn't matter. So we have saved inside the space station, and now what we're gonna do is we're gonna scan the planets nearby for a freighter that we want. Okay, we first want to look for a freighter. I know for a fact that I want the crew to be Viking. This is a species of alien. I want the crew to be that species, so I'm gonna use my filter and I'm gonna set it to the life form. That way, all these red planets are Viking planets. Now, all I have to do is jump through, put my cursor over the planets until I find a 3-star one, like this one. That means that the economy is a wealthy economy. All right, so we're gonna jump warp drive into this system, and we're gonna see that immediately there's gonna be a freighter on in distress encounter, because once you reach that amount of warp drives consistently, you will have that encounter as long as you save before. Because if we beat this encounter, we would have to warp again 5 more times in order to encounter a second freighter on distress. So if you miss the first one, don't worry. You just have to keep warp driving until you find the event, the encounter. Then reload your save, and you can rinse and repeat until you find the freighter that you want. So this is a really cool large dreadnought freighter, and I'm gonna use my camera to reposition the sun and look at the colors. I don't like those colors, okay? But so what I would do is I would reload my save, and since we saved in a space station, you're gonna see this is gonna be relatively quickly reload, and it would be way longer if we had reload or saved in a base, and at the same time we have to launch into space. So that's more time consumed. I recommend just reloading in a space station. And it may look like a lot of time, but it'll take more time down in a planet. So we have reloaded, and here is our spaceship, the Imperial Pegasus. We're gonna launch, and we're already ready to warp drive. So that's how quick we can establish a new encounter, and that's gonna help us later out, because there's only a 2% chance in a 3-star system in a prosperous economy that you find an S-class freighter, just like a starship. So we have found another Viking prosperous economy, and we're gonna warp drive and see what kind of freighter it has. You'll see that since we reloaded back, we are able to re-encounter another freighter in distress without having to warp 5 more times. So let's just arrive at the system and see what kind of freighter is waiting for us. Almost there. All right, so this is a Imperial freighter. It looks like a medium-sized freighter or a small freighter. We can always reposition, but I know I'm not gonna go for the Imperial. I am going to go for the Dreadnought. So I already have in my mind the kind of freighter that I want. So I would just keep reloading until I find the one I want. The next one I find, I'm just gonna use as an example, because I'm not gonna keep reloading in the tutorial. So this is the last reload, and I'm gonna show you how to actually get the class. All right. So once you find it, you want to use a fighter starship because this is not a fighter starship, but it'll do the job because exotics also have high stats. All right, and the reason is because you want the rocket launcher to one-shot the enemy fighters in order to save time. All right, I'm gonna show you that if you bear with me. One more warp drive. Let's find another one, new one, because maybe we get lucky and it's an awesome one. And we should be about to find one. Here we are. Okay, so we found a new one. We're warp driving. And then what we're gonna do is I'm gonna show you now how once I decide, okay, this is the freighter that I absolutely want to keep. It has the right species, the right colors, is the right kind of freighter, the right kind of size. Then I'm gonna what we're gonna do is we're gonna re-encounter the same freighter until we find it in a S class. So let's say we found the perfect red freighter. We want to keep it. All right. It's a large dreadnought. All right. So now what I do, I like this camera view. I use my rocket launcher to dispatch them as ASAP. And you can see that as long as you have a ship with decent amount of damage, you'll be able to one-shot them. You can use your D-pad left and right to switch between targets. Right? So don't worry about them. If they get close to you, just switch to either the pulse ejector or the photon cannon. But I just kind of stay with the rocket launcher because it just one shots from the farthest range. It has the farthest range. If a ship is behind a freighter or something, just use your D-pad and switch targets. Yep. So this way with the rocket launcher is how I found to quickly dispatch out of these enemy, because we can only tell the freighter's class once we land on it. Oh, okay. But stay with me because I have to show you some right after we disengage combat. Okay, let's get this guy. All right, I think one more. All right, we're good. Enemy ships destroyed. Now, once I haven't landed on the freighter. I know that I want to rinse and repeat encounters on this system, right? So what I do is I open the galaxy map. Immediately I find the freighter I want, and I remember the name of the star system, Isawak, okay? Isawak. Because even if we put, right now we cannot even put a waypoint, all right? And if we teleport back to the system we were in, we would need to encounter 5 more warp drives before we can find again. So what I do is I find the system, okay? I remember where it is relative to the position of the planet that I was. So I was here, I was in this planet, where you can see our freighter is here, and we have a base established. So it's just a bit uh, on higher on top of the where we started. It's a green system, Viking. Okay, so now I just remember relative because I'm gonna have to find it again without any guidance. Now, since we already dispatched these guys, what we can do is we can land on the freighter and check the class, because maybe on the first encounter we found an S class. All right, so it would be over. But even if that happens, I'm gonna assume that it's not an S class because I want to show you how to do all this, the entire process. So it's a C class. That's really bad, really bad. Also, that reminds me. Look, the price is 26 million units. When you start this, you're looking for a freighter with 34 slots. I'll show you an example. This is a max freighter here. It has 34 slots, and let me see where I can show you that. I guess I have to land on it, but you can take my word for it. It has 34 slots is the max amount of slots that a freighter can have. So don't expect one with all these unlocked, all right? And there's no way to unlock them. Technology slots as well. I think nine is the max. Nine is the max that you can have. So if you find one with 9 and 34, then you're good. And S class. But the S class only affects the hyperdrive. All right. And I have never used my freighter to warp drive because it only, even with all the upgrades, it only has 667 light years of distance, while my starship already has 2,482 light years of distance. So there's no really a point, I think, in using the freighter as a warp drive. So what you're looking really is for slots. So if you find an A class with the 34 and 9, then it's just as good as an S class, okay? I didn't know that. I kept hunting, but just a tip. So now we have Isawak. It has a freighter encounter, but it's a C class, so we have to reload. We're gonna lose where Isawak, the star system that has this freighter, is. So that's why I went to the galaxy map and I compared relative to my starting point where that star system is so that I could find it again. Now we're reloading and I'm gonna have to be able to find it again. Almost there. But this is once you find it, you're set. You're set. It's gonna be really quick encounters now. All the setup has been completed and you're ready to just rinse and repeat encounters really quickly until you find the class that you want. Okay, so now we open the galaxy map and we try to find it, all right? And then I remember it was a green star north of us. So I'm gonna keep looking. I can switch to the life form filter and then keep filtering. Isawak, we found it, okay? We found it again. Now I'm gonna put a waypoint, all right? And hold on because I'm gonna exit the galaxy map once the waypoint is set, and I'm gonna land again on the space station. This way, I create a brand new save point that already has that waypoint, so I don't have to find that star system ever again. It's all every time I reload, it's gonna be marked in my galaxy map. Okay, so notice our restore point has been saved. Let's board, and now every time we reload, we're gonna be at this point where we just have to open the galaxy map and then scroll up until we find Isawak. That's already marked, and then we jump. So every time we reload, we'll easily find Isawak and we'll encounter the same freighter with its same colors, same species, all same and same appearance. All right, consistently in a very short amount of time. The other the important thing now is to have a starship that has high damage and rocket launchers. And I suggest pulse ejector as well, the weapon positron ejector. But with the rocket launchers, you're able to dispatch them really easily. As you can see, we just need to wait until it overheat, and then we get one rocket, one kill. Okay, we got them. Okay, you can switch to your photon cannon while your rockets replenish. But by the time I have a lock, they have replenished. So I just kind of like stay on the rockets and not even try to aim with the photon cannon. Just dispatch them. All right, we're doing away with these fighters really quickly. And look how far that range is. We're able to just stay before they even reach us. They're just flying straight. We're dispatching them, making a good amount of time. And this way, we get to encounter more freighters per hour because we get to land and reload quicker. Look at that, we killed both of them at the same time. What? Two starships, one rocket. All right, we did it. All enemies destroyed. And then we get to land and see the freighter. Although I think that second, no, there it is. There it is. For a second, I thought we have killed an ally, and when that happens, if you attack the freighter, or attack one of the assisting starships, you will not be able to buy the starship, the freighter afterwards. So there you go, and now we have a B class with 31 and 8, so very close. Only three slots, inventory slots, and one technology slot away from being perfect. And notice that when you land, when you this unmount on a freighter, no restore point is generated because Hello Games developers thought of this. They thought of us that we wanted to reload and farm an S-class freighter. They made it easy, so I appreciate that. That's very thoughtful. Some other times there's all kinds of things in the way between reloads. This is a very quick loop. As long as you have a strong starship, you can even make it even quicker. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. There's nothing else. There's no other secret. Just find the freighter you want and follow all these tips to get the quickest amount of encounters per hour, and you'll have yourself a large, amazing freighter, S class in no time. But yeah, I'll leave it here, and this is Tony signing out. See you guys.